So I want to show you why woke scenes in a video game come off as condescending and disrespectful for the customer. So you as the publisher, you expect the customer to pay you his hard-earned money, and in exchange you're going to disrespect him and treat him like this. So here's an example from a video game called Dragon Infinite Wealth. And you have this person saying, after that, I said I love that she's so responsible, how it's really impressive for a woman to do what she does. And immediately the other guys go like, wait, what? You really said for a woman? And this guy's like, huh? Was that bad? Stuff like for a woman, or even though you're a woman, that kind of talk come off as pretty sexist, even if you're just hanging with us guys. Right, so the question is like, what is the purpose of this scene? Is it character development? Is it pushing the game story along? No, the purpose of the scene is to try and educate the player. Like at this point, the writer of the game views himself in the role of the teacher, in the role of the sensei. They're trying to replace your mother in order to educate you how to behave like a decent human in society. So the writer of the game makes the assumption that you as the gamer, you're a filthy misogynistic piece of shit that doesn't know how to speak and behave with normal people. But fortunately, they're going to write this into the game in order to show you how normal people from California act. And again, like people do not talk this way. This is incredibly immersion breaking. I have spent a lot of time during the 35 years of my life with other men and women. At no point did a conversation even remotely similar like this came out. And if it were to come out, this guy would make fun of these two. They would be like, oh, is that what the HR lady told you? Is that what you learned at the Gender Study University in California? Yeah? How much money did they rob you? How many hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt are you? So you have gained access to that shitty piece of knowledge, huh? Like the whole piece comes out, imagine like a situation where this guy would have said, God damn it. And these other two would be like, well, actually, did you not know that it is sinful to take the Lord's name in vain? I want you to think about that, my son. You know, like and it comes like really out of the blue. Like it would be incredibly cringe, right? Unless the character would be like a incredibly religious person and the game like wants to portray them as, you know, like a fundamentalist or something. This type of dialogue would come incredibly cringe. I think it's even more than that. It's kind of like this guy saying the word fuck. And then immediately like, well, actually you can't say that because in public society you shouldn't curse. Right? And these people are I assume, criminals. Like they're part of the Yakuza. Like the whole thing with this is that when someone buys a Japanese game, they want to be immersed in Japanese culture. Like that's why Japanese games are so popular. Right? It's because people want to see a different culture than the one they grew up in. And what they get now is California culture. Is they get the mental retardation that is coming from California. And like we all know what Californians think. Like you don't have to put this in a video game. Like we already know. We've been exposed to it. Right? We are aware of their takes. By now everyone has made up their mind whether they're right or not. So this entire scene comes off as condescending, right? Like it comes off like the gamer doesn't know how to talk and respect women, but luckily the writer is going to take some time off in order to teach us how to respect women. So why is this happening? Well, there is this article which came out, and I talked about it, and it's literally the localizers ordering the Japanese developers on how to properly write their game. Right? So like the company is hiring these American twats, and they're telling the developers, you need to listen to what these twats are telling you because they share wisdom. Like we need to appeal to a wider audience. We want everyone, including your grandmother and your 2-year-old daughter to play this game because it's for absolutely everybody. So unless we see your grandmother, we're not appealing to everybody. We're not inclusive enough. And your grandmother is going to play if we actually change the story in order to lecture and moralize to people, because that's what gamers want. When they pick up a piece of entertainment, they want to be lectured and moralized by our staff. So basically they're saying that a better understanding of Japanese culture among players mean adaptation can be more subtle. The Yakuza city is now called like a dragon, closer to the original Japanese. LGBTQ caricature and sexist cliches has also been axed. By the way, I know actually many people from the LGBTQ community that did like playing video games from Japan that had these caricatures because they were all in good fun. Like, I have many friends that make fun of me in a joking manner, and I make fun of them. That is not necessarily mean-spirited. Like, unless the subject material comes as mean-spirited and is actually attacking people, simply making a couple of South Park jokes or like some Homer Simpson jokes. Like, I'm sorry, I know you're from California and you think it's unacceptable, but I don't. I disagree with you. I think it's a shit-lib take. So shut the fuck up. Stop trying to inject your culture into my games because I'll just disagree with them. And if it keeps pissing me off, then I'll stop paying my money to these games. I'll buy indie games instead. So you have like here many representation which were normal in Japan, like Dragon games, are no longer acceptable today. Again, like this is what the localizers decide. It's not that the representation aren't acceptable. Like, it's not that if someone was to play the prequel for these games, or if someone was to watch South Park Season 1, they would be absolutely horrified and scream in pain. No, it's simply that the people from California are now deciding unilaterally to gatekeep the entire culture, and they're basically saying nope. So we ask our teams in the United States and Europe to read the game script, and they tell us that if they see anything, they wouldn't be acceptable in their country. Okay, so I want you guys to understand just how ridiculous the localizers is, alright? And I want you to tell me if this isn't some like level of mental illness, and why do we put these people in charge? Okay, so the localizers believe that because liberal perverts from Hollywood, like, I want you guys to use this talking point, please, because it's true if you think about it, right? Like, Harvey Weinstein, he was a liberal, a Democrat supporter, a pervert, and worse, a criminal, right? So because Harvey Weinstein couldn't be a law-abiding citizen because, like, a millionaire, a liberal pervert millionaire from Hollywood was molesting women, and he got in prison. Because of that, people from Japan aren't allowed to show cleavage in a video game. People from Japan have to lecture their customers about how to talk with women due to the liberal pervert in Hollywood in the United States. Does that make any sense? Is that logical? And if it's not, why are we entertaining this? Why is this not being called out? Because that's literally what they said in their papers. They said due to the Me Too movement, which again started with Harvey Weinstein, and if you look at the people that got arrested over Me Too or got fired, overwhelmingly liberal. Overwhelmingly people that were either Democrats or they were working in the mainstream media. Like, I personally do not know many right-wingers that actually got in trouble because of the Me Too movement. I'm pretty sure there are a couple, but statistically speaking, every fucking day, every single day was another Twitch streamer that was left-leaning as fuck, which is getting in trouble. It's like, oh, allegations against this left-leaning Twitch streamer. Allegations against Blizzard, which is also a progressive company. Allegations against another Hollywood actor. Like, almost everybody that got Me Too was on the left, and for some reason the solution is to lecture people from Japan about it. How does that make any sense? Why is it being entertained? What is this nonsense? It's absolute madness and it's ridiculous, right? So, luckily people are calling this out. Like, I have seen Sega being bombarded with this. But unfortunately, it's about the ESG scores. And I showed the previous video where all of the Japanese companies now have ESG on their website. So what this means is that they have to pretend to be woke, right? Like, they have to show that their ESG is high. Like, the investors probably don't give a fuck about all of this American nonsense anyway. But they need to hire a team, like the localizers, which are pretty much like contractors, to give them a good rating, right? Like, to give them a high number in ESG so that they can then go to the bank and say, hey, look, we're very progressive, give us cash, right? Give us good loans. So it's just like, again, like a company like Blizzard, which is accused of all of this nasty shit, they have a high ESG rating because they remove like the sexist jokes from their game, right? So they have their higher ups that actually get sued by the women in their company for sexual abuse and drinking their breast milk, right? So like they get sued for that, but they're like a company that we should all look up to, and they're the company of the future that everyone should aspire to because they get to tone police their gamers. It's a very disgusting, disturbing culture. I want nothing in supporting it. I genuinely think it's evil. I think this entire culture is nothing but lip service, pretending to be virtuous while in reality getting sued for doing like the most despicable things that you can imagine. I want no morality from these people. I want no education from these people. In fact, these people should be educated about by me, not vice versa. So let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.